everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the Pollak In-Bed Gooseneck or fifth wheel wiring harness here on a 2019 Ford F-150. So our in-bed wiring harness here is going to be designed when we're towing fifth wheel or gooseneck trailers. Now I will say that most of the time you can actually just use the factory mounted trailer connector on the bumper, but it's really best when you're towing your in-bed trailers that you install a trailer connector in the bed here. That's going to make it much more accessible for the wiring harness coming off the trailer, and we don't have to worry about draping everything down over the tailgate or our wiring harness getting caught up on the hitch or any of those other components. So here's what our trailer connector is going to look like installed. Now, so long as you do a good job, it retains a pretty factory-like install look. It really doesn't stand out. And this location right here behind the cargo hook and below the switch is really going to be the perfect location. Now, in regards to this particular trailer connector, this is what's known as a 7-way, an RV 7-way, and this is going to be most common on your larger fifth wheel and gooseneck trailers. So you shouldn't have to worry about any wiring adapters. Now, the way this works is you'll simply lift open this lid like so, and then you can plug in the 7-way coming from your trailer. On the inside of the lid there, it's kind of hard to see, but there's actually a tab there that locks onto the back of your 7-way, so you don't have to worry about it coming out while you're traveling down the road. And also on the inside of this lid here, there's a nice rubber seal along with a spring tension lid here that's going to do a great job of making sure that any water that gets in the truck bed isn't going to get inside the trailer connector and cause any lighting issues. So in regards to the functions of our 7-way, now if you're not familiar with the standard RV 7-way, we're going to have the running light circuit, we're going to have the stop and turn signal circuit for each side, we're going to have a brake output circuit for trailers with electric brakes, we're going to have a reverse light circuit if our trailer has reverse lights. Granted, not many of them do actually have that. And then we have a 12-volt battery charge line circuit, which is going to power any onboard battery you have on your trailer. So in regards to installation, this one is pretty simple. There's going to be no splicing of wires, so you don't have to worry anything about that. But we do have to drill one hole in our truck bed here. But so long as we measure correctly, we shouldn't have to worry about any issues with drilling incorrectly or running into some issues with fit. Everything's pretty straightforward, and we can go ahead and walk you through this entire process step by step now. So the first step of our installation, we're going to take our trailer connector here, and we need to find a place in the truck bed to mount it. Now, we do want to mount it on the driver's side, so our particular model here has these in-bed lights, which is going to make things a little bit tricky in regards to where we mount this, because we have a switch and some wires behind the location that we normally install them. So we're actually going to be installing this just a little bit below that switch there. So what you're going to have to do first is you're going to have a cargo hook inside the truck bed here that's mounted like so. We're going to remove that. There's 2 screws. We'll need a T27 Torx bit. Once we get that out of the way, we're going to have to reach up back behind the bed in this area here, and you're going to be unplugging the electrical connector that goes to this little switch. But once we've done both of those things, we're going to go ahead and mark a center point here. I used it with my drill bit here, and I went ahead and test fitted the trailer connector just to make sure that I have the correct location top to bottom and left to right. But now we can get drilling. So I'm going to take a 2 1/8 inch drill bit. We're going to drill out our hole here. So once we have our hole made, I'm going to come back with a file here. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up all the rough edges inside. And once we have that done, we're going to come back with a paint marker, and we're going to make sure to fill any of that exposed metal that we have. So now that we have the hole cleaned up here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our harness that comes in our kit here. So these 2 connectors are going to plug in line to the back of the trailer connector. And this end here, we're going to be fishing out this hole. We're also going to take some zip ties and secure any of the loose or extra wiring we will have. So now we're going to come underneath our truck here. So first thing I recommend doing is go ahead and plugging back in the connector that goes to that switch there, It's going to be a little hard to access once we get the trailer connector installed. But once we do that, we're going to take the end there that goes to the back of the connector that we're going to pin ourselves, and we're going to put that in the truck bed there, give ourselves a little bit to work with, and then we're going to be zip tying the excess to our factory harness that runs along the bottom here. So you'll get over here to this point, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the harness. That's going to be kind of hard to see, but we're going to be going up and over the frame. There should already be some wires in that direction there, and they're going to come down here. So we're going to be pretty much going over the frame rail. And here's the two ends of our connector. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug this into the 7-way that goes back to the truck bumper. So if we look up here, that's the one that we're going to be splicing into. So there's going to be a tab on the end there. We depress to remove it. Looks like that. And now we're simply going to mate up our connectors. They should all only go in one way. So that plugs into there. Just a test fit, just to make sure. But before we actually finally assemble everything, we're going to take some dielectric grease. We're going to coat all these pins here so we don't have to worry about any moisture getting in there and causing any lighting issues. So now that we know everything goes together, again, just going to take some dielectric grease. The step isn't required, but it is a good idea if you have some. Just going to coat all of our pins down. And now we can go ahead and make all of our connections. And the other one will go to the back of the connector. So now we're going to take the extra harness that we've routed up in the bed here. We're going to take the pigtail that's designed to plug into the back of the connector. So we're going to have to go ahead and pin these wires into the connector. It's actually pretty simple. So it is, the orientation of the wires does matter because you do have to insert it a certain way to get it to click into place. It only goes in one of two ways, so you could easily just pull on each of these wires here to ensure that it is locked in there. You will hear an audible click. But now we can go ahead and pin it. So the order here is going to be white. That's the larger wire. We can use that as a reference point. Then we're going to work our way this way. So counterclockwise, red, brown, black, green, blue, and then yellow is in the middle. Now I will say we do have a diagram on our website of the product page for this harness here that's easy to follow as well. But once we have that connector pinned, before we mount everything, it's going to be a good idea to go ahead and plug in the trailer connector to the back of this and then test out everything to ensure it's working properly. So now we're going to jump on our truck here. We're going to run through all the signals here. Now we have our running lights, our left turn, our right turn, the brake lights. And this truck here is actually equipped with a factory brake controller, so we can show you that as well now. Now, in regards to the 12-volt circuit, these can be kind of finicky sometimes on these newer Ford trucks. Sometimes it does want to show you in motion and gear shifting before that becomes active, but I really wouldn't worry about this too much. It is kind of hard to test sometimes though. So I went ahead and removed the connector again because if you have it, you want to apply some more dielectric grease inside there. Then we can go ahead and re-plug in the trailer connector till we hear it click. And this white little tab here, simply press that down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to feed the rest of our wires here into the bed, and then we are going to mount our trailer connector to the inside of the bed using the aluminum screws that come in our kit. And if we want, we should have no problems re-securing our factory cargo hook. And that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the Pollak In-Bed Gooseneck / fifth wheel wiring harness here on our 2019 Ford F-150.